Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to the You'll Have the episode 2. Thanks for everyone that joined and watched last time. This is pre-recorded, so this is not a live stream. But when we do have live streams, you're more than welcome to come chat. We'll interact with you, obviously. A few things I wanted to announce. So I'm recording these as videos from now on, even after the live stream, and uploading them as videos. So if you're subscribed and turn the notification on, you should hopefully see them in your inbox. In addition to the Spotify, please check that out. Give us a follow on Spotify. That would be awesome as well. While you're working or something, you can come listen to us. So to start out today, we have actually quite a bit of topics today, so it's gonna be pretty fun and filled. I have a topic, little topic thing right here that will have a scrolling thing to tell you what the topic is for those that are viewing the video and not listening to the podcast. So we're gonna start out with games as streaming services slash live services, kind of akin to the whole GeForce, what is it? GeForce Now, I think, and Xbox Game Pass, that sort of thing. So without further ado, what do we all think about that? I mean, I love the Xbox Game Pass. I think it's a pretty good bargain. But we have a topic that we're gonna lead into later on that will kind of open up with Ubisoft. But yeah, go ahead, guys.
I mean, I like that we're giving consumers or consumers are getting like a more, I guess, affordable means of, say, gaming and streaming services. I remember when GeForce Now first came out, like it was a pretty big deal and still is. It's nice that people that don't have, say, the hardware or, the good stuff to actually play, like, newer titles, they have, as long as they have a good internet connection, they can experience newer things as long as they own a copy.
Yeah.
But I like Game Pass a lot because I can go pay $10 on Game Pass for 1 month and say go play like one of the Yakuza games if I didn't want to pay $60 if it's like a newer one on the new pass. But of course, not all games are on there. As long as we're not going towards everything becoming a streaming service, I would like to see those kind of grow. I think it's very good for the consumer. That way, hey, they don't have to spend $40 on a game they may not like. They can have a whole library, try different things for even just a month.
Definitely agreed. I mean, I think it's a very good proposition for someone maybe that's new into gaming and just wants to be able to try out games. If they don't like this, they can. It's not gonna hurt their bank. I mean, it's literally $10 and you get thousands of games, right? So they can pay the $10 and try out all these different games, Amnesia, whatever it may be. Yakuza, or I don't know if Dark Souls is on there, but if it is, that's a crazy good proposition. Um, there you go. They can just try it. If they don't like it, no skin off anyone's bone or back, and they can just move on to a different one. So it's very, very user friendly and attractive in terms of getting new people into the gaming scene. What do you think, Twiz?
I mean, yeah. Uh, in a way, yes, it's nice to have. But as long as you can continue purchasing your games, owning them, I don't see a big issue with it. I personally don't like the whole subscription business model. At first, it was very appealing to me, but you get companies like Netflix that decides we're not making enough money, even though they make plenty of money, and just keep upping their price and making it to where you can't share with your family and stuff like that. We all know uh, that whole debacle back a few months ago, where Netflix made it to where if you weren't on the exact same internet connection, then you could not use someone else's
Log
account,
in, yeah.
which
Hmm.
which is kind of crazy because you have college students that still live at home with their parents. You know,
They come visit
the
each
majority
weekend,
of the
yeah.
time that
Hmm.
comes and visits and stuff, and now they want money out of college students that really can't even afford
Pay it, yeah.
to pay it. So you have that, and then like every single streaming service every year, it's more and more money,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
literally. So,
That's a very
I,
good point. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
like I
Oh,
said, I liked I like the concept of it at first because it was a very a big value, and the reason they got so many people to subscribe to these streaming services is because cable was up over $100 a month. All
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Now I talk to people on daily basis that are paying over $100 a month for various streaming services because almost every single channel that was on cable and TV and stuff like that have their own streaming service now, which is anywhere between $4.99 to $20 a month. So all of that adds up, and I don't think that it's as big of a deal anymore. It we've went back into this same old song and dance of what cable and satellite was,
Pretty much,
and
yeah.
you know, personally, AT&T is offering me, almost every channel that they have to offer for $70.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, stuff like that. Which, granted, after I think it's like 6 months or a year, then the price for the HBO and all of that stuff goes up. But
Oh, yeah.
still, it's still a value compared to what people are paying for just streaming services now. I mean, we're looking at Netflix about to raise. I believe they released a statement that they were going to be raising their prices yet again, and it's already $25 for the top tier one for 4K and all that stuff. And then whenever you really look into it, if you're not using their app, you're not really getting 4K.
Can I add
That
on to that
is, yeah.
with the whole 4K and with Netflix?
Mhm.
It's not even just not using their app. If you use, like, say, the website for Netflix and you're paying for that plan, somebody pointed out, which I brought him up a lot in the last video, Luis Rossman,
Mhm.
the man himself. He did some research, and because he paid that little extra to have 4K, because his hardware could run it,
Mhm.
just fine. But with that, if you do not have the exact specifications or the exact browser, all the way down to CPU, motherboard, everything, like you have to have a very specific hardware configuration. If you don't have that, it's not gonna. You won't have that. It's not gonna
Wow.
render at 4K at all. Even if you have it set to 4K, it will not work at all.
Hmm.
Which, again, that's just kind of messed up. Like, imagine paying that little extra each month. It's like almost a similar, BS with Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, why would I pay that extra for something that I should be given to already as a consumer if I have the, means of running it and doing it?
That's very, very good point. Absolutely. I think I may be wrong here, but I do think that if you run Netflix through a web browser, its max is like 720p. But if you run it on mobile, it can go all up to 4K or on a TV
1080
or 1080p. Yeah. So that's bogus to me. I mean, that doesn't make any sense considering you have YouTube and Twitch
It can
now.
run at 4K.
Twitch
Now,
is even
I'll
advertising to run at higher than 1080p.
I'll throw a little plug out for HBO. HBO Max does not do that. If you can run 4K, it doesn't matter your hardware configuration, none of that. As long as you have a 4K panel and your system can do it, it runs at 4K.
Okay.
Period. From what I've seen, Netflix is the only ones doing this, and to be honest, I honestly think it's the old bait and switch. Hey, you pay us this, we give you 4K. And, oh well, here are the
With an
stipulations
asterisk, right?
of
Exactly.
you not getting 4K.
Yep.
So, in my opinion, if you're not going to supply me with the content or the quality that you're saying that you're going to supply me, then you need to give me some of my dollars back. Because at this point, I'm paying you. If I'm watching this on my PC, which is where I normally stream a lot of, or
The
consume a lot
majority.
of my
Yeah.
content, the only reason why I'm paying you extra money is for what, four users to be able to stream at one time.
Yep.
I don't have 4 users in my house that stream at once. At most, there's 2, and that's it.
Very
The way I
fair.
see it, is like if I'm paying for it, I should have the right to let other people that I know or in my house use that shit to their, pardon my French, but you know, to their leisure. Like if I'm giving them money every month for it, why not? Like I'm paying you guys to use this or to be allowed to use your service. I will use it in the means I see fit as a consumer. And another thing that like I have to say is just I feel like a lot of companies are like bait and switching that lately. Like they're going back,
Yeah.
changing their terms of
Yep.
service or changing agreements, you know, or even just your original plans. Like we saw that with Amazon, and we talked about that last video or like last podcast very slightly, or you
Hmm.
know, slightly. And it's just they're going back on their word. They're changing things they want to change because they want to make that extra like $3 or $4. And I think
That's
there needs
yeah.
to be more consumer outrage about that kind of stuff. Just
Absolutely. Because where do we draw the line? Like, when does this end?
exactly. When is it
Yeah.
enough? Like when do people stop paying, you know, $14.99, $17 a month?
Well, companies also need to start to understand that, okay, whenever you first started, you were dealing with a bunch of old people that didn't know no better.
Yeah.
Now, the demographic that has gotten old enough to pay for their own subscriptions and stuff knows better than the bullshit you're trying to peddle, and it, you're gonna get in some shit for it. Period. Um, don't sell me sheep shit in wet water and try to tell me it's filet mignon, because it's not.
That's that's a good analogy though.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
nah, Twist, you hit it around the head, man. Like back in the
Well,
day, you
internet
know,
companies do the same thing too.
that's why you have to yell at your ISP. You have to yell out these people these days. You can't just be like, oh, you know, my bad, because if you give them like one call, nothing's gonna get done.
Exactly.
Especially with your ISPs, those are the most stubborn
Oh
motherfuckers.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, 99% of the time, whenever you call an ISP and you tell them, "Hey, I'm having an internet issue," they'll
We'll send a
walk you
technician
through.
out.
They'll walk you through the bullcrap steps. No, here lately they've gotten to where they don't even want to send a technician out. They want to blame it if you pay for your own modem, if you bought your own modem and router, and it is not their equipment. They want to blame your modem and router,
That's
even
the
though your
first
modem and
thing. Yeah.
router is better than their equipment by miles. That's the first thing that they'll do. And then you literally have to argue with them and tell them, "No, I want you to send a technician out." That has happened to me the last two times that I've called my ISP whenever I've had issues. They tried to blame my equipment. I argued. Now, granted, whenever I say I argued with the people on the phone, I wasn't disrespectful, but I legitimately had to advocate for myself and explain to them, like, no, I know that you're reading off of off a script, and I'm not here for it. Is what we are going to do is fix my internet. Otherwise, I'll just simply not pay you. I'll go to another internet service provider.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. Now, granted, a lot of people in rural areas don't have that
Luxury.
luxury or option to
Hmm.
do, and that's the sad part. Is there are a lot of ISPs that are in rural areas that know that they have the monopoly, and
Yeah.
they will literally just get over on their customer. Um, there was one ISP that tried to do that, just that, to me back whenever I lived in North Carolina, and I wound up having to get a CEO's number literally from LinkedIn and contact them on on 4th of July holiday, and tell them, "Look, I've been dealing with this issue for 2 years. You need to fix this."
The
You'll
sad
have that.
part,
Oh, sorry.
we ain't having that just yet. Come on now.
Okay, we still got more.
Let me finish it off a little bit here because
Mhm.
I agree with you, Twiz. It's sad that these companies, like not even just like ISPs, I think just these whole live streaming services and just services that are leasing, you know, your rights to use their product or you know their services to you are getting way too comfortable with no competition and doing nothing and getting paid everything for it.
That's
There's not
actually a
enough
really good point.
competition.
That's a
There's not
very good
enough
point.
competition, and until they get that, they're gonna keep you know taking advantage of people that don't know any better. Like the amount of times I had to call my ISP back when I had Spectrum, um, just to get them to send a technician out is nuts. And then when they did send one out, Doesn't
Nothing.
fix the problem.
Yeah.
You
Bare
know how I fix
minimum.
the problem?
Bare minimum work.
Yep.
Bare
I fixed the
minimum
problem by
effort.
buying a whole new fucking router. That's all I had to do is buy a whole new fucking router. But as far as all that goes,
Now, were you
you'll
using
have
their
that.
Were you using their equipment or
I
your
was at the
equipment?
time,
Okay.
and then yeah, because you remember we actually
Oh,
talked
I
about
remember
this.
this. 'Cause
Yeah, this
me and
we were in
Austin told you to
calls,
buy your own equipment.
and then I did, and nothing wrong was
Yeah,
wrong with it after.
the ISP's equipment is never good. It's never
No.
good. It's always it sucks. You don't have autonomy over it or anything.
Right.
That's a good thing to tie in with the whole topic though, is all these like a lot of these, providers, these companies, these, streaming services, they want to undersell you their product. They want to give you something that is below the standard. That
Mhm.
way, they make a profit and still be paid like, the normal MSRP or just standards.
And
Well,
if we-
yeah, but I'm the type that if you can't provide me what you say you can, then now I feel like I've been lied to, and I no longer want that product. Whenever, if you would have told me, hey, 1080p, for $20, I'd be all like, okay, well, they're not lying to me. They're telling me what I'm getting, and I'm getting that.
Yeah, I'd
But whenever
prefer
you tell me
honesty
4K,
as well.
whenever you tell me 4K and you give me 1080p, no,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to like summarize the whole topic with like games and just in general streaming services, live services though. If they are just honest and stay honest with us and give us a product that's worth that, monthly fee, we'll have no problems.
Don't try to deceive your consumer. Essentially, don't treat them like they're stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't treat us like we're stupid. We're in an age where we expect this product from you. We are paying for this product from you. And if you can't provide that, I'm jumping ship.
That's very fair.
Oh.
If we see what's happening with streaming services as a Netflix and Hulu and all that become analogous to gaming streaming services, I think that is where the market's scared, or we're scared, I should say, because it's that has matured a lot faster than the gaming streaming services, because obviously the technology is very different, and it's almost like we've gotten a preview of where it could go, and we don't want it to go that route.
Well, not only that, gamers are a little more savvy.
Not
than
to
your
mention
average
exactly.
consumer.
Yeah,
So
we're more
whenever it
technology
comes,
savvy.
whenever it comes to computers and internet and stuff like that, gamers already see what's going to happen down the line.
Yeah.
Way quicker than your average consumer is. So we already kind of see where it's going. So
Exactly.
but
Well,
you
you'll
will
have that. Yeah, you will
We'll
have that. Alrighty, so next topic. Let me quickly update it here. So now we're going to be talking about kind of segueing almost into Ubisoft and the whole fiasco recently that happened where I believe, is it the CEO of Ubisoft or just a developer? I don't remember which.
It's a Ubisoft exec.
Oh, sorry, a Ubisoft executive did mention something about telling people to get comfortable with not owning their games.
The headlines make it sound way worse than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still said it. He probably shouldn't have said it the way that he said it. But it's still trying to push, and this is the thing. You're trying to pander to your to your board, all right?
Yeah.
To the people that are making all the money, instead of pandering to the people
To the
that are
consumers.
giving you all this money.
Yeah, very
all
true.
right? So is what he said was gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for and for subscriptions to take off. Well, okay, so here's the problem in that. All right, most gamers purchase 1 to 2 games, maybe 3, every 3 to 4 months. All right, I'm gonna say the biggest average is gonna be like 1 to 2 max. So you're looking at like $100, $120 maximum that they're spending in a 3 to 4 month time frame.
Yeah.
All right, and then Now you want to make a subscription, okay? So let's say the subscription's $10. All right, that's a deal. But at the same time, we all know every single one of these games, once you purchase it, you're not done, right? For example, Call of Duty. All right, you've got a battle pass. Fortnite, battle pass. Diablo 4,
Well,
battle
Fortnite's
pass.
free, so I'd say more
Fortnite's
Diablo.
free, but you're still paying for a battle pass. You're still paying for skins, this and that and the other. Now, it's an option to do. You can still play the game, but at the same time, they play off of FOMO, fear of missing out. You know, as far as like skins and rewards inside the battle pass and all of that.
Mhm.
So now we're looking at, okay, we're paying $10 a month. On top of that $10 a month fee, $20 every, what, 2 months, 3 months for the battle pass. All right. So now we're looking at $30. That's on one game right there. All right. So, you know, I don't personally, I don't want to be spending a monthly subscription. I've never liked doing that. Granted, I played World of Warcraft for like 3 to 6 months at a time.
Mhm.
But the minute I quit playing it, I canceled the subscription.
Yeah.
Period. And the reason why I didn't play it immediately as soon as the game came out is because I didn't like the fact that I had to buy a game and then pay for the subscription. Like, why am I paying you $50 if I still have to pay you $10 a month to play a game that I bought?
And
On
the
top of
expansion
that,
prices.
you've got the
yeah.
DLCs
Yeah.
and the expansions
Yeah.
Destiny 2
that
is a
I'm
great
having.
example.
I'm having to hand you $50 every year or two.
Yeah, Blizzard's triple dipping there.
You know,
Yeah.
More
so
like
yeah,
quadruple.
Or quadruple
you're-
even. Yeah.
and then the microtransactions on top of that. Okay, so now I can't even some of the mounts I can't even earn in game. I've got to pay you for it.
Yep.
No, I want to add on to that since
Mhm.
I was kind of like a more recent WoW player as of late, even though I haven't played since 2019, 2020. Um, the worst part about the whole like store-bought mounts and all that is a good majority of them I think are just reskins of just raid mounts you could get. So it takes away from that value of say you go doing Naxxramas or going to do like a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon to get say Invincible,
Yeah, exactly.
Invincible, things like that.
Yeah.
When Jimbo over here gets mom's credit card and goes spends $20 on the in-game store to get a reskin of Invincible or just a
Exactly.
mount that looks similar. It takes away already from the accomplishment of having to do a run every week when somebody can go spend money to get something that you want or that you earned. But
Yeah, nail on the head there.
on the topic of like subscriptions and games and stuff, I think it's a bad point for him to make, even though he's trying to say, the quiet part out loud, hey, this is probably what's going to happen. Get used to it. When you have, say, the CEO of a big company like Ubisoft, who's still bringing in, billions of dollars from, good old Rainbow Six Siege, things like that, telling consumers, hey, this is what's happening. Get used to it, bucko. That's not a good sign. Not for the company, not for the industry, nothing. We already are seeing that. Like, Twiz brought it up, you're already having to pay for battle passes, expansions, things like that. Destiny 2, like I kind of murmured, is like, or mumbled, is a great example. You play that game, you spend $40 on one expansion. Great. That's awesome. But Activision, Ubisoft, Blizzard, all these companies are getting way too comfortable with selling you a $60 or $40 game or
$70
$40,
game.
$60, $70 game pretty much. Yeah. And
We have a
then on
special
top of that,
guest.
What was that?
We have a special guest.
Hi,
Oh,
Loki.
it's Loki. A rare appearance.
the Spotify viewers won't be able to see it, but there is a cat
Unfortunate-
with Twiz right now.
Yep.
But no, it's like they're getting way too comfortable with selling you that game and then selling you not only just the expansion, which we already are kind of comfortable with. We've gotten to that point where that's just the normal. But after that, Bungie especially being guilty. I'm not trying to have a grudge against Bungie. It's just big earning game, very popular looter shooter, selling you $40 season passes, $30 season passes, and now even dungeon keys, which that's great. I'm already having to pay $40 to access the latest content of the game.
Plus the
I have to go
DLC
pay
price.
Right, the DLC price, that's almost $80 alone to access the newest content. Then I'm already paying $10 or $20 for the battle pass that has, say, an exotic weapon that people really enjoy, using or is meta. And then I'm paying another $30 to access 2 dungeons for the expansion. Like, what the fuck?
That's
Yeah.
also not talking about the fact of the people that bought it, that actually bought the
Oh,
base game day one.
Right.
Yeah,
I
pre-Lightfall
spent
or
And then they
whatever.
turned
$60 on
around,
Destiny Day
and
one.
then they turned around a few months later and was like, haha, just kidding. It's free. And those people didn't get their money back.
No.
I want to
And
play
not
off
to-
of this a little bit. Sorry, go ahead, Jaboon.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Fuck it, go for it.
I feel like all these big publishers or game developers like Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and EA, especially EA, they've all kind of adopted this mentality that recently I'd say Bethesda's perfected almost, is they're going to tell the consumer what to want. They're telling you what you want versus them listening to what the consumer is telling them they want. Blizzard's done this numerous times with their DLCs, expansions, where the people are telling them we don't want 8,000 different systems, Titan forging and all that, and I don't even know anymore what they're at. But all these subsystems that complicate the game, they overinflate it, and it's way too difficult. People have been saying they don't want this, but the developers just ignore that. It's baffling to me. And recently with Bethesda and Starfield, everyone's telling Bethesda like Starfield's very empty, it feels very bare bones, it feels unfinished, and Bethesda's like holding it on a pedestal like, guys, this is the best thing ever. What are you talking about?
We spent 10 years working on this game. This is our biggest project
But
yet,
it's
said
not.
Bethesda.
Exactly.
not.
And it's just this tone deaf kind of like, we
In
know what
my
we're doing,
opinion-
you don't know what you're talking about. And I think that attitude is this is why indie devs right now are just it's so many indie games right now, which I love, is they're getting a lot of traction. Just recently Palworld, for example, blew up, absolutely blew up. I mean, I think it has
Lethal Company too.
Lethal Company isn't that like a one-person developer, I think?
Yeah, it's originally Lethal Company. I was a part of this community. Roblox was originally a Roblox developer making his games on Roblox.
Oh, okay.
And then he started making his own games on Steam, and the most recent one being Lethal Company. Gave early access to some streamers, if I remember correctly, and it
Mhm.
blew up. But it's a great thing because these developers, they give the consumer, the person that's willing to spend that $10 up to $40, that freedom with their game and let them, modify it as they please
Mm-hmm.
and just have a good time. Like, they make sure that there's enough there to work off of for somebody to come and enjoy the game as is. But if you want to add more on the experience, go nuts, dude.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think we live in a time. Sorry, let me just finish this one point. I think we live in a time where being an indie dev right now is very
The best
advantageous.
time.
Yeah, it's super advantageous because you remember back then, in like for example, the Xbox 360 days and even the Xbox One when it first came out. You had your big game publishers; they dominated the market. Everyone had those games. That was it. Whereas nowadays, I mean, we're seeing tons and tons of indie devs getting the spotlight that they deserve.
And personally, I have plenty of fun playing, Halls of Torment, Vampire Survivors, Death Must Die.
Mhm.
Very good
All three of
one.
those games are great games. Granted, they're not, super in depth. There's not a huge story there or anything like that. But if you want a game that you can boot up to play single player that works,
And it's fun.
there you
It's
go.
genuinely fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's something to do. Absolutely. Now, I will say, best game of 2023, my opinion, Hogwarts Legacy.
I love Baldur's
and
Gate 3, but I also love Hogwarts Legacy as well.
Baldur's Gate 3 is it's a great game. In my opinion, it's a close second to Hogwarts Legacy. And the reason why I like Hogwarts Legacy more than I do Baldur's Gate right now is just preference. I was an old school D&D player, so it's not the D&D aspect or anything like that. It's just personally, I really enjoyed Hogwarts Legacy. The only thing that could make it better is
Multiplayer.
Multiplayer.
Absolutely,
maybe
absolutely.
maybe
Co-op.
some dueling, maybe some Quidditch or
Yeah.
co-op even.
Yep.
But again, I don't know. I can't say for sure yet, but it's starting to feel like the developers of Hogwarts Legacy is not listening to their consumer. All right. Um, we were saying this before the game even came out. Like, please give us some sort of multiplayer.
Yeah.
All right. So the game dropped. They kind of hinted at it, I think, from what I heard, that they were going to do some sort of multiplayer for Hogwarts Legacy with a later patch. Still hasn't happened. Now I'm starting to hear that it's going to be in a completely different game.
Yeah, a Quidditch game, just
Yeah,
and it's free to
Quidditch
play.
game.
Yeah, it's gonna be free to play, is what they're saying.
Okay, yeah, that's great. It's going to be free to play. Guaranteed that there's going to be microtransactions
Of
and
course,
battle passes.
of course, yeah.
All right. Why not instead? Okay. Here's a thought. Put dueling and Quidditch into Hogwarts Legacy. Sell it as an expansion or DLC for, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks a pop. Guaranteed everybody that bought Hogwarts Legacy will buy the DLC. Guaranteed.
And that's another topic I think that we might, if we have time, we'll come back to, or just do it next week. Is it seems like a lot of these companies want to bring out as many IPs and as many, almost just kind of to throw at their accomplishments as much as possible. They're trying to just essentially get as many titles under their belt and to have a very expansive what's the word that I'm looking for?
Library?
Not library, but like your accomplishments, your it's
Portfolio.
your portfolio.
Portfolio.
Yeah. They're trying to just enhance their portfolio as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Whereas if you just build your main title and just make it as best as it could be, that's a lot better than having 60 things thrown at the wall and seeing what few stick. Why not just focus on that one thing? It's like No Man's Sky, actually. That's a really good example. No Man's Sky started out at the dirt. It was at the bottom of the barrel, but I think his name is Sean or whatever. He stuck with it. I'm sorry.
They kept their heads down and they, through the shit, they stuck with it and made it a decent game.
They made it, they made it a very nice. I mean, there was almost like what 20, over 20 updates for free, completely for free for those that bought it.
Haven't charged a single penny for their game-changing updates.
Yeah, that's how you take care of a project like that. Because now you have earned the public's trust. People are invested in it, and they're actually working on a survival like ground game akin to like maybe like a Skyrim-esque thing. So they're working on that, and I'm absolutely looking forward to that. I will definitely be excited for that.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And another thing, I loved Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
right?
Cyberpunk's in that. Yeah,
but I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with CD Projekt Red, because weren't we supposed to get a multiplayer?
So yeah, they did do kind of what Hogwarts did. Is they said yes, and then they went back and said no.
Here we are 3 years later. There's no multiplayer. You went back on your word. You told us no, and this, and that, and the other. No, not cool. Give me what you tell me that I'm going to get. I have no problems buying your game and waiting a little bit to get it.
Yeah.
But we're 3 years in, and then it's almost like you started to give me the cookie, and then you took it back and put it back into the cookie jar. It's not nice.
That's very fair. Yep.
I feel like we can use that topic to segue without, we can say you'll have that if you want to go ahead and say you'll have that.
You'll have that.
Yeah,
you will have that.
We can go ahead and segue with that into our next topic. I feel like a lot of games, they just launch without giving what they promised to us. That we see in trailers, we see, we're here in the news, all that kind of stuff. And the game launches as barren as can be, and they're still charging you a $60, $70 price tag for a game that's essentially an early access game.
Well, I feel like they tested the waters with that business model with Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. Because we were supposed to get all of this great content you know, heist on Red Dead 2 and
Story
we were
mission
supposed
DLCs
story
and
mission
yeah.
DLCs. All of this, you know, you promised me the moon and you gave me a bucket of crap. Why? To get sales. That's why. Now, don't get me wrong. Red Dead Redemption 2's story, in my opinion, a
Masterpiece.
masterpiece.
Absolutely, yeah.
A great game, yeah.
Great game. But you literally kicked the can down the hallway with the multiplayer and shifted way more focus on GTA 5. And granted, I played GTA 5 multiplayer. I had a good time in it until every single lobby had a freaking modder in it, and I couldn't walk outside of my apartment without being blown up.
Now, I do love the fact that they pushed out an update to where you could do private lobbies with everything. I think that kind of almost solved the whole modder thing.
But how many years later
It took them long enough.
It absolutely
did it take them to actually do that?
And you are correct on that, but I do think
they lost at least 40% of their player base.
Yeah.
Before they ever even considered doing that. And that's where, again, you don't listen to your consumer.
Not at all, no.
You lose your player count, then you want to be reactive and do something. It's the same crap that's going on in Call of Duty and Warzone with their anti-cheat. You are being reactive, not proactive. You have had this same issue for years. This is not a new issue with wall hacks and aim bots and this and that and the other. You also have over half of your community telling you that you need to tone down your aim assist.
That is a very sticky topic with the Call of Duty community, though.
What do? You put in rotational aim assist so that brain dead people that use controllers can compete. Well, I'm sorry, but it's 2024. Consoles can have mouse and keyboard plugged into them. Why are we still running at 65% aim assist? Tone it down. The finals listened. They toned theirs down to 35%. I think that should be an industry standard. 35% across the board.
I'm gonna kind of just steer us a little bit more on track in the sense of you brought the finals up, which is a good thing. The finals from a studio that was just newly formed off of old EA developers that worked on Battlefield, and that's just such a beautiful example of a group of people that were sick of EA's corporate stuff that they shoved down developers' throats because they don't have control over that. They said, no, we're moving on. They started their own studio, and the finals came out, which I'm a huge fan. I think the finals was a very well executed game, not predatory at all, very silky smooth, the best aspects of Battlefield brought over, and the overall story is so not every game has to have an in-depth story and all this and that. The finals is very simple. You pick it up, you can play it, you put it away, done. It's got a very arcadey feel, which I really like. I think that was missing, honestly, in today's games. I think Overwatch is kind of the only thing that's somewhat similar, but even Overwatch has this convoluted backstory of characters and all that Blizzard themselves messed up. So anyways, back to the finals. When you have a smaller studio, it almost seems like you're getting a better product. You're getting a better experience overall.
It's a product of love, not a product of profit.
Exactly. Like the community, I mean, I've firsthand seen it on Reddit. The community did complain about aim assist a lot, and there was videos showing like how the magnet aim assist they have, which is it snaps on, huge problem with people. And developers were like, okay, look, we're gonna readjust it, and lo and behold, they did, and it's very balanced. I've literally read Reddit posts where controller players themselves are saying it actually feels like I'm getting these kills versus a computer getting it for me. I actually like this more. And I think, honestly, in this day and age, a smaller developer is almost a pro. It should be a pro at this point, because they will listen to their community and they harbor that that good reputation. They'll start building it. But yeah, we have a list of games here, so I guess we'll just talk about a few of them. In recently that launched. So Modern Warfare 3, I think the main issue with that, obviously, Twiz, hit the nail on the head there with aim assist issues, and the reason it's launched, I think, was terrible is because greed, as usual. A lot of people were saying it's basically a DLC. It shouldn't be its own $70 game.
Okay, now on that, just a little hot take on that one real quick. I'm a big Call of Duty fan. I have been. I play Modern Warfare 3 every night, you know. But I will say a lot of people's all like, well, it's just a DLC. Okay. But every single Call of Duty that has came out since the first one has, you could essentially say that it's just a DLC. It's the same game with new maps, new guns, new skins.
I'm going to disagree with that because I personally remember back in the day when the story was completely different. And Black Ops on Modern Warfare 3
story,
or Modern Warfare were completely not really
the
different.
story, yes, but I'm going to say 70% of the player base does not purchase that game for the story. Not since multiplayer dropped.
I'm gonna give like a kind of or try my best to give like an unbiased take. I mean, I grew up with Call of Duty as well. You could say pretty much every COD is like a DLC to an extent because at the core, it's all about that multiplayer. The only way I could say it's not really a DLC is especially when zombies hit the scene. Zombies is huge. I remember I could say, I was buying, the other COD games for zombies, and some I bought for the campaign. But if we completely brush those two aside, COD's biggest focus has always been multiplayer. The only reason why it hasn't been lately is because Warzone came out with 2019. That blew up. It's a battle royale. Um, People are still buying it for the multiplayer and all that, but they mainly buy it for the multiplayer. And if they aren't, they're playing Warzone for free. Um, Aside from that core gameplay loop, core gameplay in general, aside from the studios giving their little twist with say their games like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, games that stray off that boots off the ground, beaten path or tried different mechanics from a different studio, you could absolutely argue that they are a DLC. So I do have to kind of agree with Twiz's take on there to an extent that yeah, you could argue that every COD is pretty much just a DLC with a $60 price tag. It's all the same game. It's just different updates, better, polished. That's it. You're paying for an update.
I think the primary issue with MW3 is the engine, gameplay, and overall feel.
It was so busted.
And not that. No, it's just it was almost a copy and paste from MW2 with a few more weapons and different maps. And the adjustments they did make, I think, hurt the game instead of helped it.
My problem is I feel it's a Cold War situation. Sorry to cut you off, but I think it's like a Black Ops Cold War situation where it's like I feel they probably wanted to have like say maybe Infinity War to work on it again.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, bam, Sledgehammer's in there working on Modern Warfare 3.
It did feel like a very much corporate decision to bring MW3 as its own game. More so than the developers like, hey, this is more of a DLC. Let's just release this as a DLC. Whereas corporate was like, nope, we need to increase our profit margins. We're going to make this launcher, and we're just going to have this thing as a whole entire game.
And then if you remember Cold War?
The reason why they brought the launcher out is so that your skins and stuff can start transferring over to the new Call of Duty games. Like, all Call of Duty games are coming out on that launcher that way. Because if they let you purchase skins on one Call of Duty and then they don't go over to another Call of Duty, guess what? Your consumer isn't going to buy those skins anymore. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So they had to make that launcher so that your skins and stuff do transfer over.
Go ahead, Jabin.
If you remember, I mean, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was the same way. Like, if I remember, originally it was a whole different game that was supposed to be worked on. I think it was by Sledgehammer at that time for Call of Duty. But Treyarch came in last minute and, they made Black Ops Cold War. I just know that there was like a sticky situation with the devs there.
Well, they I thought Cold War was worked on by Sledgehammer and Treyarch.
That's what it
I
was.
think it
Sorry,
was a
it was
collab
originally
because
worked on by
Treyarch has always done Black Ops, and Infinity Ward has always done Modern Warfare. It's always been two different dev teams, and they always staggered out the Call of Duties. So one year you would have Black Ops that came out, the next year you would have a Modern Warfare, and then Black Ops, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, Modern Warfare. Now we had Modern Warfare 2 drop, then Modern Warfare 3 drop the very next year. And I think that's what a lot of people are hissy about. And the fact that from what some developers said or leaked, it was supposed to be a DLC, which, hey.
There's actually in-game files when the game released that had MW2 in the titles. So the actual parts of the game were from Modern Warfare 2.
Then it should have been a DLC.
But not to harp on MW3 too much, because we do have a lot of other games to cover too. So that's what I was saying is the bad launch with MW3. And obviously the bugginess. Twiz, you want to touch on a little bit of the bugginess that you were talking about earlier?
Oh God.
Every update. Like, shit, not this again.
Every update. And you would think after years and years
years
of dropping these games, you would know how to drop an update. But apparently you don't, because corporate wants to keep firing the devs. This is why your game gets so much shit talked about and people are getting angry about it, is because you will fire your devs for differences of opinions, and then the new devs that come in are trying to work on what an old dev did, and then the update drops and you break the entire game. For example, this last update that just dropped, Season 1 Reloaded, all right? It broke the guns.
I have personal experience of this one.
People would try to aim, and the gun's like doing this.
Yeah, there's YouTube videos on that. Yep.
Freaking out. All right. So there's that. Ranked play was supposed to drop with Season 1 Reloaded. It had to be delayed by a day. There was just a lot of
I personally tried to play ranked, I think 2 days ago, and had an issue with my site not showing up no matter what I did.
His site didn't show up
no matter
what he did. And it's the same exact site that I use in ranked. Yeah, I swear to God.
I just had higher site.
I built his gun. I went upstairs. I built his gun exactly the same way that mine is built. The exact attachments. No camos on it. No nothing. Just so that it can't break anything, right? And I'm like, okay, you should be good. After deleting his original, okay, you should be good. I go downstairs. We load into a game. No sight still. So he's running around with iron sights the entire match. All right. Fix your crap.
I made 8 different loadouts, all with the same AR with different sights, and none of them had a sight. And my secondary was broken too. So
yeah, his
definitely some bugs to iron out. Yeah.
He set his secondary is melee, the Karambit. All right. Whenever he'd pull his secondary, he'd pull out the Renetti.
And it was very oddly tuned. It was modified incorrectly. I don't know why.
Shit like that makes my eye twitch.
Is that wait? Right? So he was pulling out his secondary. Yeah. It was not the gun that was in the secondary.
I had a melee. I had a Karambit. And this is ranked, by the way. This is ranked.
It was a Karambit, and it pulled out a pistol.
In ranked.
It pulled out a pistol.
And it pulls out a pistol.
I don't want to segue with this just yet, but it sounds like a Fallout 76 situation when it launched, where you could pretty much you would be able to you would log in and you could pretty much be playing on somebody else's save. That just sounds like such terrible care and maintenance.
I don't know what loadout it is. It's just a random loadout.
How does that get past the dev team?
And then here's the last thing about the game. Since day one, I have had packet loss and high latency pop up and just randomly hit me with packet loss and high latency. All right. There's nothing wrong with my internet. No other game does this. I can do a speed test right now. Internet's perfect. All
Yeah.
right.
I think that's based off of the netcode of Call of Duty because they haven't changed it since probably the original, which they used peer to peer. A lot of new games, like Battlefield, for example, are using servers now where you connect to a server and all your stuff is ran through a server.
And here's my thing, and I truly hope like some Call of Duty people hear this, whoever's on the dev team, whoever corporate Call of Duty, Activision, whatever.
Yeah.
We have given you so much fucking money over the years. Give us our dedicated servers and quit playing. Don't play with me.
Yeah, when you're running
don't.
ranked, even ranked games on peer to
And
peer,
you're
and you're getting random
you're getting
loadouts.
packet loss,
Yeah.
high latency, random loadouts, and you can't even spawn in a fucking site.
Yeah.
Fix your shit.
And this is also kind of why I'm like, I don't think Call of Duty is a competitive game anymore. Back in the day when you were on console, sure, because everyone had a console.
Okay. Yes, that's your opinion. In your opinion,
This is completely my opinion. Absolutely right.
But you literally have Call of Duty League. You have Call of Duty Pro players. You have tournaments with thousands of dollars on the line, and you have this shit happening.
Well, not only that, but they have cheaters.
Wrong.
They have cheaters in their tournaments quite often.
There's something to be said whenever you're a developer that is over 20 years old and Fortnite comes in on the scene and their updates are way less buggier.
Oh yeah, no, it's very polished.
And they are faster to respond than you are. There's something wrong.
So
but you'll have that.
Oh wait, no, there's still more that we'll have. Hold on.
You'll have that with Call of Duty.
Yeah, for Call of Duty, you will have that. You'll definitely have that, absolutely. So, Jaboon kind of touched on 76. I think he pretty much kind of summed that up in the sense of buggy is an understatement.
This shit is personal for me, man.
Oh, please go ahead. go ahead then. It's all you.
I played 76 at launch, refunded it the next week. They say a lot about the great launch of Fallout 76.
Yeah, there you go.
I want everybody that's listening to this probably knows the whole debacle with Fallout 76 and at launch, but for those who don't know, for maybe listening at home while, dusting off the TV or cooking dinner for the family, let me inform you on the beautiful Fallout 76 by Todd Howard. Todd, it just works, Howard. There was a Chromecast video at the time after 76 came out, Todd and his sweet little lies, and that's like the best way that we could put 76. I remember for months this game was hyped up. Everybody knows the 16 times the detail,
yeah.
8 times the size, the great landscaping technology. There's no landscaping technology, Todd. This game, I keep bumping into the microphone because of my hat. This game, this game was running on Fallout 4's engine. Sorry, just the creation engine. This thing is old.
Very old, very antiquated, yeah.
I digress. We're focusing on the lies. If my camera will focus. Hi, camera. The game launched, and of course, but typical Bethesda state, if not worse than usual Bethesda state, they tried to tack multiplayer onto an engine that obviously was not made for it. There were so many things promised in these trailers that, wasn't there. And on top of all that, there's no fucking NPCs in the game. This is a fucking Bethesda game. This is a Fallout game, which is supposed to be a story-rich game in Appalachia. I'm probably butchering the name, but almost heaven, West Virginia. Almost heaven. Nah, this is not heaven. We going to hell with this one.
Yeah, that is very accurate.
Just like the game launches with no NPCs. It's running on the same engine that they've been running for years, which wouldn't be a problem if they were fixing it and working out through all of this time. We are still having the same issues that we are having in Starfield that were in this engine back in Fallout 4, Fallout 3. Just launched in a terrible state. No NPCs, no engaging story. Half the mechanics that were half the things that were promised in the trailers that actually did make it into the game, like nukes and stuff, The codes weren't fucking randomly generated. You could just go find that shit on Reddit. You launched more than one nuke, server crashed. You tried to pick up a bobby pin, server crashed. You know, you tried doing anything in Fallout 76, server crashed.
Server crashed the game.
Right. And then on top of all that, you know, the pre-orders were terrible. You didn't even get a fucking physical copy of the game if you bought this game on console. You got a fucking cardboard cutout with a code to go redeem on Bethesda's website. That is fucking crazy. But my biggest thing is that it still ran on the same engine. And they touted it, you know, they preached it as this is our biggest project yet. We have so many different studios working on it. But it sounded like everybody that you heard that was working on Fallout 76 didn't even want to work on the fucking thing, or that they were just tossed it. They were fed to the wolves with this. And Todd just said, "Oh, it'll just work." You know, that's pretty much what he told everybody in the studios.
Yep.
Just make it work. It'll just work. And then it's that I could talk about Fallout 76 for hours. Between the
I think anybody that bought the game could.
fair enough. But the messed up part is there's people that are still playing it, which don't get me wrong.
Well,
it's way
with the
better
new,
now.
yeah, I mean, I was about to say with
There's
the new
people that
update
actually
is,
care about the game working on it now. I will give it that.
yeah,
There are diehard people that want to see the game grow. They've given the game multiple free updates. It's a more stable game. If you go into the game playing it not like a Fallout game, it's a pretty good game.
I would
But
definitely
it
agree.
defeats the whole purpose of it being labeled a Fallout game. And then on top of all that, they kept trying to say, Todd said, we knew it was going to be a bad launch. Not a bad launch, but we knew it wasn't going to be like a high score Metacritic game. Like, okay, but that's not a defense to release a shit product.
Exactly. Exactly.
You don't promise your people one thing and then release something that's just not it. Like, the game had so many bugs from Fallout 4 because it's
Same engine, same everything. Yep.
And then on top of all that, when you can't even give your consumers, you know, a canvas bag in their pre-order,
The whole canvas bag debacle, yeah.
Bag.
Yeah.
I see Twins laughing about the fucking canvas bag.
The only reason why I laugh is because whenever that game released, I had a neighbor that bought all of this shit for the game.
Oh,
and
did they buy the
didn't
collector's
receive it.
edition?
And he was so absolutely pissed. Like every time I came out on my front porch and he was out there and we would start talking, this exact subject
game
would come up.
Yeah.
To where eventually I got to where I would come out on the porch and look over to my left, and if he was out there, I'd be like, I don't want to hear about that damn bag now. You're gonna come over here. I want to hear about
come over
this
here, tell me
bag.
about that damn canvas bag, boy. I'll tell you what.
I don't want to fucking hear it no more. It became a running joke for like a good year and a half, 2 years. That like every time I'd see him, I'd be all like, either
Nope.
have you got the bag yet, or I don't want to hear about that damn bag.
Yeah,
But
that
just,
canvas bag was definitely a point of contempt.
But no, just to kind of like touch on the top there, go back to 76, like game wise. People couldn't get refunds because, you know, Bethesda was trying to change their policy about it and tell you, if you downloaded the game,
You technically, the timer started.
the timer started.
Yeah,
but no, if you downloaded the game at all, you couldn't refund it. It was an entire mess.
That's not right.
No.
Which,
No.
you know, that goes back to the old GameStop policy. If you opened the game,
seal, if you broke the seal, right.
Yeah, if you broke the seal on the game and put it into your console, you could not get a refund. You would have to sell it back to them at a discounted price. And by the way, that discounted price was
almost down to
90%.
having a fucking penny.
Yeah.
You just lost 90% of your money for a shit game that didn't work or you didn't like or whatever.
Speaking of a shit game that didn't work, Anthem. That's a pretty good one to bring up. Anthem, talk about a hyped up game. Oh my god.
This is another one of those good old looter shooters that had, I think Anthem, the worst part about it is I think it had a lot of hope.
It was very hyped. It was hyped.
It was a very hyped game, which we've all seen that situation many times with many games, and they end up just launching to be a total disaster. Anthem had a lot of potential. I think it could have been a very good competitor. It could have been a good game.
to Destiny, for example.
Especially, yeah, like the core mechanics weren't bad. I think the game felt good to play. It was a good feeling game, bugs
Yeah.
aside and everything. It was something different. But of course, it's released under the EA publisher. So any hope that had at that time, especially the 2018-2019 era, which we all know was
That's
probably the worst time for EA,
Oh yeah.
without a doubt. Any hope
Personally,
this game had.
my opinion on EA is they went to trash after Need for Speed Underground 2.
Yes, you could say they went underground.
Oh, absolutely. Need for Speed Underground 2. Oh my god, I love that game. I have so many hours in it. But
Yeah, I like that game too.
Every time I've seen EA on a title of a game since,
You won't buy it.
it's been trash. I won't buy it. I won't waste my time. If you give me a free demo copy, I might play it a little bit, and if it's good, then I'll purchase it. But until you can show me as a developer that EA it's actually in the game, then fucking no, I won't purchase your product anymore.
To go over a few EA games that it's kind of they've been questionable lately. I think every single FIFA installment since like 2014 maybe is the same thing rebadged. Same with their NFL and NBA. They have a monopoly over that market because they have the rights to them. So it's a shame. It really is a shame. Same with Star Wars.
Star Wars especially.
Yeah. It's just sad. It really is sad.
The OG Battlefront 2? Like, who remembers the OG Battlefront games? Right? Raise your hand, metaphorically, if you're watching the podcast or listening. Those games were so good, man. Even though they had the EA stamp of the EA stamp at the time. Fucking bangers, man.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is
2042's launch was absolute garbage, but at least they
fixed it. They fixed it. And the one thing about EA is DICE. Their Battlefield team. They know how to make a shooter. They're very seasoned. They know how to make the shooter. Because Star Wars Battlefront, that was basically based on the whole Battlefield engine, I think. What is it called? Cryo engine, I think?
I think it was Cryo engine.
Yeah.
Frostbite engine.
Or Frostbite. Sorry, Frostbite, yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, Battlefield 1 for me was amazing. I loved Battlefield 1. That
was a good game.
That was one of the most, like, atmospheric World War II shooters I've ever seen. Or World War One, even, I think it was actually. Yeah, World War One. Yeah, even till this day, it's amazing. Like, you literally feel like you're in the war. The thing
is, it has good graphics. It prioritized gameplay.
Yep.
Still plays well. Still plays like a good Battlefield game.
Very true.
I think a lot of the EA games that will give EA like this little benefit of the doubt, but you can't really give them this anyways. I'm gonna try to though. A lot of the games that are good from them, I think they're very hands off with, or they have to be made by a whole new studio.
Very true.
I know it's a game that was technically already made, which I'm very nostalgic about. I love the Dead Space series. Anybody watching can tell. Good old shirt, USG Ishimura. The Dead Space remake slapped. That was a very good game, very faithful to the original. You could tell that the team that worked on it loved what they were doing, and they wanted to make sure they followed, Glenn Schofield's original vision to a T, which they did. They added new things here and there to flesh it out and still make it feel like a newer game. It was good, but I think that's because I'm hoping at least I felt like EA was very hands off with this. I think they just let the Motive team run wild. You could see because with that game, they had devlogs, they had a couple of videos here and there showing the new systems in it. I think any good EA game right now is not being fully watched by EA, and that's like the sad truth. But I feel like that's how it is.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel that they have to have that creative freedom for it to be a good game.
And that's the thing is like you have to sacrifice. No, you have to sacrifice that creative freedom to get a lot of more profit because they want to release it quickly, and you gotta have that balance. And with EA, that balance is usually very heavily weighted on the profit side versus the creative freedom side.
The only way to do it quickly and with profit is cookie cutter bullshit.
All
right, so which brings me over to Diablo 4.
Oh, that's a great segue. Absolutely.
So I'm a huge Diablo player. Fucking huge. I played Diablo 1, played the shit out of Diablo 2. I had every single one of my characters.
For some context here, Twisted and Jaboon are the experts. I am not a Diablo expert. I have played 4 and 3 though, so there you go.
I got my battle chest for Diablo 1 and 2 about sitting in those drawers. So
Wow,
you know
nice.
I'm serious about my shit.
Right.
Nice.
Right, exactly. So, Diablo 2, bruh, every single one of my characters were level 99. I had a level 99 fire sorceress. I used to, duel constantly once I got my characters to level 99. It was a beautiful, beautiful game for its time.
It still is to this day.
Replayed it. Whenever they dropped the updated version of Diablo 2, I immediately purchased it.
I pre-ordered
immediately purchased
the remastered.
Yeah, the remastered version. Again, level 99 fire sorceress, right back up there. I've got an Amazon and an assassin and a necromancer. So I'm a huge Diablo fan. Always have been. Diablo 3, whenever they introduced the seasons and stuff, I was like, I didn't play it as much, but I still played it. It was okay, but it wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't Diablo. It wasn't old school Diablo like I was used to. All right. Then they dropped Diablo 4, which made me so hopeful. And I the first few days, couple of weeks of the game, I was thoroughly enjoying it. Then they released season 1.
That's when the Fire Nation attacked.
That's when the Fire Nation attacked.
You want to talk about a train derailment?
No.
That makes Norfolk look like amateur hour.
Bro.
That was not a train derailment. You know that scene from Call of Duty World War II? Like the cutscene with it starts to come off the rails. So you see it slowly flying all over the place in that big ass cutscene. Diablo 4 Season 1 launch.
What the actual hell were they thinking?
That's the funny part is they didn't actually use hell in Diablo. You're in hell for the story, and that's it.
So you want me to play a character, okay? And then I can't even play that character in season 1. I have to then create a new character and go through everything that I already did all over again.
Okay, so from someone that Jibun, I'll let you go right after this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, you're good, bro.
From someone that didn't have all the experiences that they had of Diablo 2 and 1, I did play a little bit of 3. I completely agree with Twiz. Even as a newer player, I don't enjoy replaying games over and over, doing the same thing for quote unquote the seasonal mechanic, which in Diablo 4 was literally just adding one thing. Like you see a random thing spawn and you do it and that's it.
This is also why I hated Destiny. Don't make me feel like I'm doing a part-time job. Sorry,
well, Destiny's a bit different. Destiny, you don't remake your character every time. And we have a buddy called MJ, which has the same sentiment. I want to make my character, and I want to progress that character. That's what I want to play. I don't want to have to try every class or re-level every class and redo the same thing over and over again. And for me, after season 1, honestly, it just completely killed the vibe of the game. I really didn't feel motivated to level up or anything.
I played maybe a week into season 1, and I was like, you know what, this is complete and utter bullshit. It's a steaming bucket of shit.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. All right, Jaboon. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm good.
I want to ask you guys, because I know you're probably more educated on the whole seasonal shit than I am, because I quit as soon as season. So with the battle pass progression, the season pass, whatever they call that, I heard that the only way you can progress through that was having a season. Is that true?
Yes.
Is that how that functioned?
I think so.
I think so. Seasonal character.
So not only you had to pay for the battle pass, right? I think you did.
Yeah, you did.
You had to make a whole new character to make progress in the thing that you just paid $10 for?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You had to make a seasonal character. Yep.
That's bullshit.
Absolutely.
Why not? Like, I want you guys to understand, because we all three of us here, we played the shit out of Diablo 4. But like,
I had no issues when it came out. I had no
no,
issues.
that's not what I'm saying. Me neither. It was a great game when it came out.
Yeah.
I will still say that launch Diablo 4 season aside was good. That was a good launch, like game wise, for just if it was just a game.
Yeah.
The bosses could have been a little more.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you bring that up. Yeah. So compared to its competitor, which its competitor is Path of Exile, the bosses are trash tier across the board. Diablo bosses, like, who made them?
It's that one. It's just like
yeah. As Asmongold said, it was like bam, bam, bam.
No, it's like if anybody watched Game of Thrones, it's like whenever Tyrion and Jaime were having the conversation, and whenever Tyrion was locked up in jail about their cousin that was a little mental and would smash beetles, just ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk. That's what this boss is.
Yeah,
that's what this boss is. Like, what?
Fucking hell, dude.
What? Who?
And then
in
you
their right mind
exactly, and
thought
then
that would be a good boss.
And then you look at Path of Exile's first in-game boss, just the first they start you out with. There's like 4 different mechanics, and if you mess them up, it's very clear you messed them up. It's not hidden behind gray on top of gray, so you can barely see it. Like, it's just they're not even comparable.
We're talking about Path of Exile 2, right?
No, Path of Exile 1. I'm not even talking about the second one. Blows Diablo out of the water. It's not even a comparison. It's not even remotely close.
On the topic of the bosses,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but like, I think Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 unfortunately share that same issue. I think it came from Diablo 3, where it's just you have so much going on screen. Like, there's so much like modifiers and shit from the enemies that are they're way too fucking flashy. You have way too many explosions and shit going on. There's so much happening on the screen, and they try to make it all look like it's so intense, so much is happening.
But it's not.
The cost of that, yeah. But at the cost of that, it's like you sacrifice actual like good boss fights for, like, you know, I'll never understand in Diablo 3 what the fuck I died to. That's the main thing I had an issue with. I'll never understand what the fuck.
And it's a visual hinderment. They try to make the game difficult, which I call it artificial difficulty, because they literally make a boss's mechanic the same color as the ground, so you can barely see it. That's not making it more difficult. That's just literally making it to where you can't see it.
So do you guys want my opinion? You guys want my opinion of what Diablo in of itself as a franchise's downfall was?
Let's hear it, bro.
Let's go.
What we're all about.
You wait 20 fucking years between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Because I remember this as a teenager, all right, playing Diablo 2. Everybody was so hyped. Everybody that played that game, no matter who you ran into in that game, just randoms, were so hyped for Diablo 3. And they were talking about Diablo 3. But, again, profit is always gonna... That greed aspect comes in, and Blizzard, instead of cultivating this beautiful baby Diablo,
that franchise, yeah,
they cultivate World of Warcraft because they were getting a subscription
and expansions and the store.
They were getting to people to pay. But that's the thing. Diablo 2 had expansions too, and everybody that purchased Diablo 2 purchased the expansions. All right, I did. And everybody that I played with did. Everybody that I ran into did. So it wasn't the expansions. It was the fact that they had literally bamboozled. And that's what I'm going to call this shit.
Bamboozled.
You're being bamboozled. And as much as I like Asmongold, bruh, you've been bamboozled for years and years and years.
Yeah.
You purchase a game, pay for a subscription, and purchase expansions. There's no two ways about it. Period. That correct me if I'm wrong. That is the only game that's ever done that.
I think Final Fantasy does the same. I think they have the same kind of.
What? Paying for?
I think he means like subscriptions, expansions, and base game.
I'm talking about having to buy a base game.
Mhm.
Pay for a subscription and pay for
Actually, EverQuest did that too.
your expansion.
Oh, I think we just lost Spoon. Nope, he's
Oh,
back.
there he is.
I'm back. I
Okay,
don't know why I
that
did
was
that.
weird.
Internet's being really shitty tonight. Sorry, guys.
It's alrighty. But yeah, I
No,
think EverQuest, Final Fantasy, and
I
World of
played
Warcraft as far as I know.
EverQuest. EverQuest didn't do that.
They did EverQuest.
didn't
Yeah,
have to
they have
pay
a
for a subscription,
subscription.
did
No,
you?
they do. Yeah, they do.
Did you have to pay for a subscription originally, like the original
I'm not
EverQuest?
sure, but the original EverQuest,
No, you
even
didn't.
today, you do pay a subscription though.
Okay, that's today. Do you
Mm.
know why you have to do that today?
Probably because
Because
Blizzard.
fuckboy
Normalized
bullshit
business model.
Blizzard and World of Warcraft and everybody that continued to pay for that shit
Yeah.
showed other companies, hey, you can triple and quadruple dip, and these people will still pay for it.
Yep. You're absolutely correct.
In Final Fantasy's defense, you don't have to buy the game or pay subscription unless you do the latest stuff.
Yeah.
You can play up to almost 1,000 hours of content in Final Fantasy without even paying. Their free trial, and this is like one of their biggest things. Like
They
their
have
free
the best free trial.
Oh yeah.
they just expanded upon it recently too. Originally, it was only up to the first expansion. You can play up to Stormblood, and that's a lot of content. Your only restrictions are that you can't use the marketplace and maybe like a few other things. Aside from that, you can still buy things. You can still play the game. You can still grind stuff. You can't trade. You can't use the marketplace.
Can you be in a
That's it.
guild or clan or whatever they have?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, you can still add friends and all that. You can still talk to people. The only thing you cannot do is sell in the marketplace, use the marketplace, and your typical restrictions for a free trial.
Hmm.
I will throw Final Fantasy that bone. I mean, I am a little bit of a fanboy, but they do give you a lot to try and enjoy before you decide to buy. And even then, you only have to pay for the latest expansion and then that monthly fee.
And I think
Which
that
I
compared
will
to
throw them
like
that bone.
that's a very fair point, and that is a lot better than the competition because compared to Destiny, which their free to play game is really more of a demo at this point. Same with World of Warcraft. I think their free to play hasn't been updated in a decade, right? You can only go to level 20 still, or did they change it? I'm not sure, but it's not even a comparable at this point. So definitely agreed. So we did touch on let's talk about a little bit of Halo Infinite.
I don't even
Or actually, you know
know
what?
about that.
Halo Infinite, I think we all know what's happening with that, so we're fine. Let's actually
It's not very
go
infinite.
right. Let's go to just a subtopic of this. It's not even a new topic, but the scam games that recently have been coming out. I really want to touch on that. And by scam
day
games, I'm talking about
before.
Quinfall and The Day Before, which I think those are pretty outlier, like definitely scam games. So
Did anybody get their money back for the day before?
yeah, actually, Steam did a huge W. Steam literally forced a refund on everyone and delisted the game. So they are completely.
Good.
Actually, I think it was the publisher that agreed with Steam to do that. So I think the publisher isn't predatory per se. But yeah, that studio was very predatory, and obviously it was a scam. So what do we think about this new trend of asset flipping? I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on that.
Dude, I've been following asset flipping shit for so long. I don't know if what Toes wants to go first. If not, I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. Man, I've watched so many fucking asset flips over here. Pardon my French. Sorry, I'm getting into the zone. You can tell.
Go for it.
Where do you even start with asset flipping? Like we're getting to a point where it's almost an industry standard for random dev teams to come up out of nowhere and just they'll show you these little bits and pieces of pre-rendered crap, gameplay. Okay, gameplay. Even AAA companies are doing this sometimes too. Like it's not even messed up. But on the topic of like day before games like that, I don't want to be the one to say I saw it coming on my. I don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to hear that guy. And when the game looks like it has so much hope. But when you see, say, games that are originally indie, or all of a sudden this new dev team comes up, the cool kids in the block, with their Ray-Bans and all that, looking like it's a good game, showing you all these cool trailers, getting you hyped, and then it comes out and launch. Like, there's so many games that we've seen that are either going to be feature creeping or asset flipping that you're using don't belong to them, that they only paid for to make like a quick little demo. Games like Yandere Simulator being a great example. I think of some other ones because there's so many. I've lost count at this point.
I think Warframe is one where it has feature creep, but that's not
Yeah,
new. That's a very old
that's
game.
that's not new.
Yeah.
As far as like asset flipping, I mean, there was a big studio back in the day that tried suing somebody. Not even a big studio. I apologize for that. But there was a studio called Digital Homicide where they were making these handful of games where it wasn't their assets. It was purely store-bought Unity assets. Selling them for like, cheap price. That way they could just make a quick buck and be off with it. And they tried taking somebody to court that didn't like their games and just gave a fair criticism. When we're getting to a point where this is now invading the AAA market, which day before looked like it was going to be a AAA game.
Oh,
And a lot of people that were really into those kinds of games were covering it like this was a big deal. That's a problem. That's a huge problem for the industry.
Gave Division a run for its money.
It did. And that's another good one. Division. That one was something that looked like not asset flip, but at the time it was kind of a similar to what we're seeing the day before. So many things promised and a lot of cool visual things, like a lot of details, especially
I remember
opening weapon crates and pulling out a gun, expecting that gun.
Here's a specific one, if you remember this. Do you remember where the person that was demoing the Division had an iPad and he went in the game with a drone?
Right, he could control the drone on the iPad.
He could control the drone on the iPad. Remember that?
That never happened.
No, that never
happened.
Nope.
I remember that never happened.
It just goes back to, hey, we're going to sell you something that you're never going to get.
Yep.
Which, in a regular market, not a gaming market or whatever, software market, whatever you want to call it, that's called bait and switch. If you okay, let's say, for example, if a car manufacturer tried to sell you features on a car that were not actual features on said car, they would be liable to be sued because it's called bait and switch. And that's
False
exactly what's
advertising,
happened. That's exactly what's happening in the video game industry. And then you, again, back to one of our very first topics, you have execs wanting to add on top of that and say, you know what? You're not, in the future, you may not even own the bullshit that we're baiting and switching you with.
Yep.
I don't like none of it.
Me neither.
Me neither.
To give I guess my final take on it. I know we're gonna talk about another one after day before, but the problem is these people are seeing AAA companies get away with showing you very little things or showing you cool and not delivering on their promises. This is becoming an industry standard, so more and more people are going to take advantage of it until we stop funding this. Like I didn't buy this game. I didn't pre-order. Not thankfully there were no pre-orders, which is probably the best thing that could have came out of the day before. Before the day before it came out, no pre-orders. And there's just these companies aren't answering questions whenever we're asking, is this real? Is this game real? Especially with day before. So many people were trying to get in contact with the studio or even see if it was like a real thing. Is this game real or is this in the game? There were so many things shown.
They keep going around the question. Yeah.
Exactly. They keep these, especially AAA devs. They try and straddle. They try and slither around those questions until the game comes out. So they get people past that 2-hour refund point.
Exactly.
Or they get people to buy that game and they play that game thinking, man, once they get 10, 20 hours in, it's gonna be there, right? It's gonna be there. This is gonna be the game that I was promised. It's gonna be there.
Exactly.
Some gamers just don't know better. The problem with these games is they take advantage of people that don't know better.
all of these developers and shit must have been taking notes from Activision. Activision ducks, dodges, and slithers around the SBMM question now for 20 years.
Um, we're moving into like the best way to, I guess, sum up day before is, at least with just day before, is they see people get away with it. These people are still getting away with it. Like, I know there's probably a lawsuit going on towards this company, but when your AAA dev team that worked on day before responds to shit happens, that's what they say. Shit happens.
I remember that Twitter post. Yep.
And then to find out that these people weren't even fucking real, pretty much. That they kept trying to find an office. There were two. I think they were two people in Russia, and what they were doing with the day before is for all like their tax reports and all that. They think they had something in like Malaysia, not Malaysia, but it was so far out.
Wow.
Where they were acting like they were in Malaysia and shit like that. And these guys are living it big while the money they're making off the day before. And then when the hammer came down, they're like, oh crap, man, it's over. But to finish it, we just gotta be more careful in the future.
Absolutely, sure guys. Don't pre-order. Make sure.
Don't pre-order. People are still pre-ordering.
That's why I don't get hyped for video games and stuff like that until I actually see them after they've released. No, my expectations are very, very low because I'm going to show my age here, but Super Nintendo, right? Whenever they would preview games or whatever right before their release, those games had cinematic cutscenes that looked so good compared to what you would actually get. There's a couple in particular that I remember that did that. They were shooter games, but it wasn't even actual gameplay. They had like actors or whatever they did, and it was like little cutscenes that they would show you on
pre-rendered,
on a commercial, pre-rendered, all of this, and then whenever you'd actually get that game, it's nothing like what the commercial showed. So I've always had this pessimistic outlook on anything that you're showing me that is not actual real world gameplay. If you're showing me just little clips of the game while it's in development, I'm not getting hyped for that shit.
No, because you don't know what it could be. My last thing I want to hammer in, and we can swap off day before. I'm sorry again. This is a big one for me. I think games like The Division that launched or before it came out, talk about Anthem, day before in general, all these games that are having these issues are the reason why we need to have, like, back in the day when we had consoles, they're like at GameStops, Walmarts, and letting you try the games or try the console, the system, anything like that before you buy. We need to be pushing early access tests way more. There needs to be like a actual proof of concept and seeing it there again before the games get released. Like,
no, absolutely.
There's no quality control that way. There's no more quality control. That's the problem. There's no quality control.
I personally always get excited for in-game gameplay footage, which is what they showed off with Path of Exile 2. And is it GGG, I think is their name, whatever, gaming gear or whatever. They know their audience. They know that they will not really be excited unless they show gameplay footage. They showed gameplay footage, that was their advertisement. And I think that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That's why I'm hyped for Path of Exile 2.
Yeah.
And which I played Path of Exile 1, so, you know.
Same. As long as I can get my hands on it, try it, and I like what I see, I'll be excited for it. But if I can't try it myself, if I can't trust, like, you can't trust review, like, the whole thing with day before is, like, it got put on IGN, like that. Trusted game reviewers, trusted game critics were showing this off like it was an actual game.
Yep.
And then
it was supposed to be an actual game.
Well, yeah, I know. Of course, it was supposed to be an actual game. But my whole thing is, that made it past people who the normal consumer would trust. I mean, of course, nobody's trusting IGN these days, but
the entire industry got bamboozled. I mean,
that's the problem
it's
when
as
the
simple
whole
as that.
industry is getting bamboozled, and it can happen again. Like this isn't going to be a one and done deal. It's
Oh,
not. It hasn't been a
absolutely.
one done deal.
Absolutely.
That's a
People
good
pass
point.
off fugazi shit all the time.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is like you would think as the industry has gotten better, more, we've evolved with technology and everything, that this wouldn't be much of a problem. No, if anything, it's gotten worse. You think it would have gotten better, and that standards would have been higher. But
It's only gotten easier for the scammers to scam.
right, because they downloaded Unreal Engine, they made a couple
Drag an
pre-rendered things,
asset. There you go.
they
Yep.
dragged in assets that weren't theirs, and they made it look like that it was theirs.
Yep.
They
You'll
made
have
some
that.
look good. You'll have
And
that.
you will have that.
Alrighty, so our next topic, we're gonna be talking about some NFTs recently. Oh yeah.
This is like shit. Which ones are we talking about? We're talking about the
I think
So
that's the dumbest shit.
I completely
paying
agree.
for rights to a
Sorry.
fucking
Yep.
image, really?
Yeah, but recently, GameStop has now decided to shut down their NFT store. So NFTs are even more worthless now. So good on GameStop.
Wait a minute. GameStop
Don't
is
get
still a thing.
GameStop is yes, GameStop's still a thing.
I
Yeah.
used to work
Weren't
there.
they
so yeah,
supposed to
it's still a
close their
thing.
doors like 5 years ago? I mean,
Yeah, they were on the brink of bankruptcy.
Topic of NFTs. Did you hear about? Was it Square Enix at one point launched their own NFTs too?
Unfortunately, Square Enix actually doubled down on NFTs recently. So yeah.
I think
On the topic of your NFTs, I've noticed. Sorry for cutting you off, by the way, Twitch. It's just I've noticed like a lot of even indie developers. Like I don't know if you've heard of Poppy Playtime at all. It's a horror game. Probably not. I don't blame you if you haven't. But it was really big with the YouTubers. As soon as the game blew up, they started selling NFTs and merch. I don't like seeing that NFTs are becoming a more common thing.
I don't
We've even
either.
seen a restaurant dedicated to the monkey NFTs. I don't remember the Bored Ape. The
Yeah,
Bored Ape.
yeah, the Bored Ape.
The Bored Ape
Mhm.
NFTs. They dedicated a whole restaurant to that, and you had to think you had to pay with your NFTs or something like that. Why?
I think
Like-
NFTs are worthless. I don't understand it. I don't know
What's-
why someone would want it.
I'll tell y'all what I'm gonna do right now whenever I see one of these NFTs, and anybody that's watching, the podcast, save.
Thousands
all I gotta
of
do.
dollars just
Thousands
wasted
of
on
dollars,
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Somebody can edit that pretty easily. I
Very.
know that like they have like some sort of like code in them or whatever, like some like little.
It's
digital thing.
protected by blockchain encryption. Yeah.
cool beans.
Wow,
Who
bro,
cares?
I'm sorry. If you have to spend $1,000 on like a picture of an ape, feel validated in your life or to have some sort of bragging rights, you ain't making it nowhere. That's gonna be the hottest take I've had on this podcast, but like, you really aren't going anywhere, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's not that. Go spend that on your house. Go spend that on a car. Go spend that on like your computer.
or something tangible. Exactly.
Go buy somebody a birthday gift. Don't buy an NFT.
I gotta be able to touch it.
Yeah. That's fair.
too.
That's fair.
I gotta be able to
You
touch it.
telling me that you gonna charge me $1,000
I gotta be able
for
to
a piece
touch
of
it.
digital art?
Now,
I
I'm gonna actually make an analogy here in the sense that, like, for example, skins in Call of Duty, you could technically say like that's kinda somewhat like that's sort of a microtransaction though.
NFT.
Actually, it's not really an NFT.
It's a microtransaction.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not
That's
an
fair.
not an NFT at all.
That's fair.
You could say like Counter-Strike skins and stuff are kind of like an NFT, but at least with that, you can sell that whenever you want, spend it on something else in the market.
And you
things
can
like
use
that.
it in a game, whereas an NFT is literally
Right.
useless.
An NFT is just a JPEG in your downloads folder.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with it? You gonna set it as your profile picture on Discord? Like, what?
Have someone take it.
Happens, what happens if your hard drive gets corrupted and needs to be wiped?
What happens if you lose your login
Oh,
to where you
well.
bought the account on? Like, you just lose your thousands of dollars because you don't have a password manager.
I mean,
like,
it's dumb all the way around.
no, there's no justifying it. That's the best part. There's no justifying it, but they want to act like it's something to brag about, or
Well,
that you should, or they should go to jail because you took somebody's NFT, bro. Like, you're not catching me in a jail cell 5 years from now because I right click, inspected, and saved on some dude's Bored Ape
Well,
NFT.
well, here's the thing on that too. Okay, so you're gonna try to get judges, which are most of them don't even know how to operate their iPhone, and aren't even gonna know what the hell an NFT is, and you're gonna try to take somebody into court and argue that they stole something from you that's not tangible at all. I mean, come on. I don't think you would go to jail. It would be like a civil court thing or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
No matter what,
regardless, it's stupid.
not even just
It's
that.
dumb.
Taking somebody to court over that, no matter what the lawsuit, no matter what the case, you're gonna spend more on legal fees.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
I just thought this was a universal win for us, for everyone, that GameStop just dropped that, because NFTs,
Yeah.
they should be dead, and as soon as they are dead, it's another W, because
Yeah,
it's
the
I
just,
hope
it's
they
stupid.
keep on
planet.
failing.
Same.
There's so many better things to invest your money in.
Absolutely.
Like, I can respect somebody buying a Gucci bag more than I can buying an NFT.
Oh,
Because
same.
at least that's something that they will use every day.
Or
And
at
that's
the
such a
very
terrible
least,
thing to make.
they could collect it and not have the market be so unstable that one day their bag's worth $1 because whatever, because just because, you know.
At least invest it on something physical, man.
It's a Ponzi scheme. It's literally what it is. It's literally a Ponzi scheme.
It's like buying from a snake oil salesman.
But you know, you'll have that.
You
We'll
will
have
have
that.
that. Yep. So our next
All right, what's
topic
next?
is YouTube censorship in general. That's a Jaboon thing.
That's a Jaboon thing, man. So I don't know if you guys noticed. You guys probably have. We're all a little bit of YouTube connoisseurs. Everybody's used this over the years. I feel like a lot of people have gotten more, I guess, family friendly on YouTube. They're way too afraid to just, be blunt and honest with things, or not be able to, or, be able to curse, anything like that, which I get. Some people don't want to constantly swear, anything like that. But YouTube restricting videos and stuff like that purely off of cursing, because, some person says, drops the F-bomb in like one sentence, or quotes an article with, a no word. Like, isn't that the whole reason why YouTube Kids exist and things like that? Like, why are we punishing people for freedom of speech?
I
As long as they're
remember
not being
that.
hateful,
Mhm.
they're fine. Like, quit punishing creators because they have a colorful, vocabulary.
And you're right. I mean, YouTube Kids exists for this exact reason. But in addition to that, I remember specifically there was like a 30. They have an AI where in the first, is it 10 or 30 seconds of a video, it'll
30
scan
seconds.
it. 30 seconds. It'll scan it, and if you curse or there's anything that like is gory or something that's questionable, it will automatically not allow you to monetize your video, and it'll put that in that category where it'll try to hide it from people.
Why are we threatening people's livelihoods because they have a colorful vocabulary? Like, I'm sorry if somebody's listening at home and they don't like hearing F-bomb, but my guy,
Then
it's not that
should
serious.
that should be the choice of the listener or the viewer. If they don't want to hear it and they know that this particular YouTuber or content creator or whatever uses that vocabulary, then they have the option to not watch the video or listen to the audio file or whatever.
Exactly.
But at the same time, my argument to people that don't want to hear cuss words that are adults is
Suck it up, Buttercup.
So not even suck it up, Buttercup. I'm not even going to be that crass. Okay. Words are made to be said. All right. And I'm going to get into this whole thing. First of all, a lot of cuss words are nothing but acronyms. All right. Shit is, ship high in transit. It's an acronym. Look it up. The origination of these words. And like I said, they were made to be said. Period. If you don't like them, then that is your preference and you have the option to not hear it. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're in a public space, yeah, you probably shouldn't be running around dropping the F-bomb and this and that and the other just to have some kind of respect for people that are around you. But in the same sense, like how how I'm trying to be not
Nice.
insensitive and be
Yeah.
sensitive, but you know, how much of a snowflake are you gonna be if hearing a word makes your eye twitch that hard? You know, I'm sorry, but we're coming into this age where if you're not saying the correct things, if you're not doing the correct things, if you're not, you know, all of this, you're canceled. You know, we're canceling comedians for jokes.
We are canceling people for not referring to you as an attack helicopter, bro. That's the best way to put. That's the best way to put it. Like,
I mean,
it's a very cancel culture heavy time to be in. Yeah.
And granted,
that's the best.
there are some things that people should be canceled for. Yes. But there are other things that I've seen a lot of people get canceled for that should have never even been. It's like, really, come on.
And actually,
You know.
this is a perfect time to segue into I think our the next topic real quick. So we'll do a mini. You'll have that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll have that.
You'll have that.
Yeah, you will.
This topic is great, man. I love this topic.
Yeah, but it when you talk about it like that, it feels almost like people are weaponizing the censorship. And in terms of YouTube specifically, this brings up the fact of the copyright system is broken.
It is. It absolutely
Mhm.
is. The copyright system is terrible. Like,
It's used as a weapon, for not only for fear mongering, because now we have people that can be like, I'm going to strike your channel 3 times if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and your channel's deleted.
Yep.
you use 10 seconds of me in your video and use it in a transformative way. I'm gonna send a copyright strike on your channel through my, my media team.
Mm-hmm.
A great one to point out, which I don't have marked down here at all. I don't have anything marked down here. I don't know if you guys have heard of Aiden Ross at all.
Yeah, I've
Dude's
heard
a
of
total
Aiden Ross, yeah.
Dude's a total fucking loser. I'm gonna say it right now.
Mhm.
Aiden Ross, you're a fucking
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm jabbing at him. Aiden Ross, fuck you. So I didn't have a problem with him until he did this, but some guy made a video pretty much like calling out like his, and but just because he used like 10, like, a couple clips of Aiden Ross, but he used them in your typical YouTube transformative way. He's commentating, he's editing it, he's using it in a transformative way to express, how he feels about Aiden Ross, and
Yeah.
it's not good. Just because of his video, Aiden Ross was in there, he decided, I'm gonna copyright strike you with my media team, my legal team. And of course, YouTube being the great platform that it is, if you want to have anything done about that, not only do you have to send their media team or pretty much Aiden Ross or whoever you may be going up against your personal name, your personal address, all of your personal information.
Your lawyer, yeah.
Your lawyer too, if you have one. They also get to decide if not YouTube. YouTube stays completely out of this. That's the messed up part. Is even though that's
It's their platform. Yeah, they're essentially not involved.
Your strike, there's no middleman to like trying to decide, oh, this is fair use. The copyright claimant decides that it's fair use. Like, what the heck? Why is the person who is going against you, who is trying to take down your content, the one to decide if you actually have fair use for that content?
Absolutely.
That's messed up. Like, we've seen so many copyright abuse or like cases over the years, especially with our favorite YouTuber. I remember Jim Sterling suffered from that with Digital Homicide, and then we've also had Sniper Wolf, I think, do the same thing. We've also had Paul Brothers.
Sniper Wolf's done a bunch of
questionable things.
We're gonna get into that.
I wouldn't even say questionable. I wouldn't even
almost
say
illegal.
questionable. I would say borderline
illegal, if not illegal.
It's like, we're gonna get into that, but
that bitch is
my
insane.
point is like this whole copyright thing with being in the program to begin with to be able to do that. That's a sacred thing, man. As I'm gonna quote Mr. Chuck McGill, which if you guys have watched Better Call Saul, get this in a second. The law is sacred. These people were treating copyright laws like it's just a fun game to go smack somebody down for just because you don't like them, which is beyond fucked up.
Well, to be honest, I think corporate law
No,
is
it's a whole way
just
different. It's a whole different.
scummy as shit, and that's
It's
exactly what
very convoluted,
copyright
yeah.
law is. Is it's corporate law.
The worst part is it isn't just YouTubers. It's also big companies too. But it makes it worse that it's YouTubers doing it. If it's big corporate companies, that's one thing. We're all used to that. That's just typical BS. But now that YouTubers have this power with their media teams and just themselves,
It's
and
a
then
free
also
for
get to
all.
decide, and also get to decide that I don't like this person, so I'm gonna take their video down. Um, what do you guys think about that? Like, what needs to be done about that?
Well, I personally think it's more of a problem of, honestly, the government policies not catching up. The DMCA, the Digital Millennium Act, and all that, Content Act or whatever, it's outdated. It was never bulletproof and up to date or future proof to the point we're at now, where everyone's uploading content, everyone has these transformative videos. All of that wasn't a thing back when it was created originally. So I mean, in terms of YouTube, I think they do have their hands tied in terms of them needing to do something. I think that the system they've introduced is not great. It's not even good. But they do have government regulations they have to abide by. And I feel like this is just how they felt. This is how we can take care of it. Me personally, how they'd fix it, I think there needs to be a government level fix here with the DMCA. I think it needs to be updated. It needs to take into account all these scenarios and abuse of it, because it's very easily abused.
There's no verification.
There's none. Exactly. And I think also perhaps YouTube should be involved, maybe going in a panel or something where they can they have experts that can explain how all this stuff works. Because obviously we know a lot of the government is a very outdated mentality and old. So they might just not be tech savvy to know what's happening. So having it boils down to, I think personally, it's government policies need to be updated. That's what I think. But I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think?
I'll let Twiz go ahead and roll the ball.
I think the same thing, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Government policies need to be updated on a lot of things. Yeah, that's.
Well, I guess we talk about what I think about it then, which I think there's a lot of things they could do. Of course, there's only so much you can do with how very fragile people are and how finicky. Because it's almost like paper mache. Like one thing could go wrong, and it's just not good.
It all collapses. Yeah.
It's like a Jenga tower. It's like a Jenga tower. You pull one piece out, you have a risk of everything falling down. I think what there should be, and as far as YouTube wants to get involved, step one is I think there should be a more thorough striking process. I feel like that there should be absolute have to prove why this is it's copyright infringement, why this is there. Copyright claim is one thing. Everybody knows copyright claim and strike is a whole different thing. Claiming is one thing where
exactly YouTube, if they're going to be involved, they need to not have 1 foot in the pool and 1 foot out.
That's exactly what I was saying. I think as far as YouTube wants to get involved, if they want to stay mostly out of it, at least have somebody then stay out of it, or have somebody from YouTube come in and explain to the person claiming that, hey, this is business, and then also verify if there is an actual copyright breach or grounds to strike. Like, have somebody who have a team of people who thoroughly understand, as far as YouTube goes, the copyright laws and what is fair use and what isn't fair, and have that be for the non-corporate strikes from people that are big media groups. I know it sounds kind of biased, but as far as the average YouTuber goes, who can just pop it on out, have a team of people dedicated to that that'll at least look at it and decide that, hey, this is fair use, this isn't fair use. We're not going to accept this strike because we know that this is fair use. If they take them to court over it, then that should be between the YouTuber and the. But as far as YouTube is involved, I think they should have at least somebody in the middle ground to explain to the two parties that, hey, this is not fair use. This is fair use. What I've seen here is this is fair use. We will not be going through with the strike.
And
And
there
there is
should be a
something going on.
reputation system too.
Exactly. Like, we all know things get re-uploaded all the time. So if it's just a whole re-upload, fair game, fair enough, with no rights. But a
Well,
lot of these cases, it's just they do it because they don't like the person. That's why there needs to be like a verification team or a middleman to an extent.
And this is very
Well-
specific. Oh, sorry, God.
go ahead.
Oh, when you actually get a strike on YouTube, it immediately demonetizes or holds the video's earnings, and there's a waiting period. And I think that is kind
Again,
of
that's greed. That's greed. Period.
well. I was just gonna say I think that system's flawed. I don't think you should have a waiting period of X days or whatever weeks of your livelihood just being kind of held up in the air waiting there.
Well, here's my question. Okay, if it gets demonetized, right?
I actually
if
I
they-
don't think it gets demonetized. I think they hold the earnings.
It goes to a whole
They
separate
hold.
account. between
Yes,
the two
they
parties.
hold the earnings. But then, if say a video does get demonetized,
Mhm.
do they then get? Does the creator get the money that the video already earned?
No, I don't think so. No.
So,
YouTube
what
gets
happens,
that money.
What happens is it's kind of a sticky situation. If it's strike, and of course, the money is held off to the side. I believe it is if the claimant wins.
Oh, the
and it
claimant
taken
gets
down,
it. Yeah.
the money goes to them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if the video gets completely taken down, I don't think anybody gets it.
Mm.
But if the original person who got claimed against wins, I believe they get that money back. But at the
Okay, well,
time,
yeah.
I don't think while it's claimed, it doesn't make any money. And that's how it works.
Gotcha. Well, at the same time, all right. So if YouTube wants to do stuff like that, why are they still allowing people like SS Sniper Wolf after stalking and doxing people? And she has actually came out and has done a half-assed apology.
Oh, it's
on
not
her-
her. You could tell it's definitely like lawyers that typed it up
Right.
for her. Yeah.
Well, still,
It's
she
that
did-
Chat GPT
she
apology.
She did a half-assed apology
Mhm.
on her channel, on her YouTube platform,
Mhm.
to this person that she did this to. Why is she even still allowed to have a YouTube channel?
Let's segue into that topic. Let's come off of the copyright. We're gonna segue into I think there's a big bias on YouTube. Big bias. There's a lot of stuff going on that they're not looking at.
Well, hold on. Let's have a. You'll have that for the YouTube copyright system.
You'll have that.
Yeah, you sure will.
Alrighty. So yeah. So let's segue into it. I guess. Yeah. So there's definitely a clear gender / sexual preference on YouTube and Twitch, and there's a discrepancy between your male and your female / and your non-binary, etc. The groups are definitely not treated equally.
No.
And I think a clear outlier that is somewhat recent is the SS Sniper Wolf situation.
Well, for me, it's not
Absolutely.
even. For me, it's not even just I guess a gender thing. I mean, even though it's probably is a big issue going on, I will agree with that. I think that it's just a big thing in general that there's favoritism on the platform. We've seen it with Twitch, and now we're seeing it especially with YouTube.
Absolutely.
With Twitch, it's even worse. It's been getting really bad.
Absolutely.
We've all seen this.
Absolutely.
Like,
Well, yeah, you've got
you
the
got them just
hot
dancing.
tub. You've got the hot tub bullcrap whenever at the end of the day, all right. And don't get me wrong, if that's how you want to make your paper that way, boo boo. But why don't you do it over on OnlyFans instead of coming to
A gaming streaming website.
platform, all right, and filling up your stupid kiddie pool and putting on your. A lot of these bitches don't even have bras and bikini, or don't even have bikinis on. It's bras and panties. So
I think the main attraction they use on Twitch is they use Twitch to link to the OnlyFans. That's the broader audience. It comes in from Twitch.
okay, better yet, you don't have to do that on Twitch. Did you not?
You have to, actually. You cannot link straight to OnlyFans. Or sorry,
Not-
you can't
not-
have explicit content.
Knock, knock, knock. Don't you know every gamer has Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days? Do that crap on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That's good argument.
Do it on TikTok. Don't bring it into the gaming scene. Period. I mean,
I remember when
because here's what I know. All right, a lot of these females that are in these hot tubs that are pretending to play these games, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're pretending to play games. They have a controller, right? And they're acting like they're playing. Meanwhile, there's someone off camera actually playing the game.
Yeah.
Like
while they're responding to you. Again, they're fugazi. They're bamboozling everybody.
They got the Oompa Loompa under the desk sweating on Call of Duty.
Again, there is room for that. No problem. Just Twitch is for gaming. All right. If your skill isn't up to par to actually pull in an audience, and you have to wear low cut whatever and show off cleavage and stuff like that, then don't be delusional, boo boo. You're not good.
I think there's also an addition that this stuff sells. It actually does work.
It does.
There's a large viewer base. Sex
is
sells.
always sold.
Exactly.
Sex is always sold.
I think
look at the Playboy bunnies.
Right. I think to harp back to the topic at hand here is there is a sexual preference that's going on in how Twitch chooses to respond to this. Go ahead, Jubin. Sorry.
Well, it's like on topic of sexual preference. I remember, dude, back in like it's like 10 years ago. It feels like it's in the past now. I remember like unless showed nudity, unless it was for educational purposes and required for your content for something to be actually educational, that kind of stuff, shit would get taken down within not even like a few. Like I can't be the only one that remembers that.
No, I remember that too.
We used to not see all these videos or streams on Twitch, anything like that. If it was slightly suggestive in any way aside from say being in a game, anything like that, you're done. Bye bye.
I think it started. Oh, sorry.
People couldn't. Yeah, you're good. You couldn't even like play like a suggestive game like one scene from Far Cry 3 in the end or anything like that on YouTube without that shit getting taken down.
They banned Second Life off of Twitch for the exact reason. It was overly sexual.
Yep.
But we can play VR chat and we can shake our,
shake your money maker.
Shake your fake money maker in VR chat with your avatar. People doing yoga streams. Again, if you want to make money like that, let's all clarify this together. If that's how you make your dough, that's fine. Don't do it on here. This is supposed to be like people wanted to get into Ninja about swearing back like when he was taken off.
That's stupid.
I don't know. I'm not against that.
I mean, that's going off topic.
But that's the thing. You want to get on to people about swearing and demonetize them for swearing. Meanwhile, they can get on your platform and be in bra and panties or a bikini or whatever and flash their stuff up and down the internet all day long, making all their money and not get demonetized.
But the minute somebody else doesn't do that.
And also promote their OnlyFans, which is a very overtly sexual.
I mean, that is definitely a sexual site. There's no arguing that.
Not to mention promoting their bath water and all that.
And that's the thing. If I got on Twitch, right? If I got on Twitch, and let's say I took a link from eHub or whatever and posted it, immediately I would probably be at the very least demonetized, if not a ban warning or ban outright. But yet they can throw their OnlyFans and this and that and the other. It's the scales of justice are not balanced.
I mean, y'all know Delaware, right?
Yeah.
I know this can be a very touchy subject. Someone's gonna get mad at this guy or get mad at me for saying this. But I don't know if y'all remember, he got banned for telling a girl to go make a sandwich.
I remember that, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You shouldn't say that to somebody? Of course not. But like, why is Delaware banned for that? but Amaranth is okay to like shake her backside on Twitch and show off her boobs and all that. That's the whole point.
Sniper Wolf's able to stock/docs
Jax Films.
Jax Films. Huh? Really?
Definitely, yeah. She got a slap on the wrist, and even Absman Gold brought this up. Is at the very, very, very least, she should have been banned off of the platform she used to dox the person. At the bare minimum.
I agree. What should have been, which was
Instagram.
Right?
Is Instagram.
I don't even call it a slap on the wrist. If it is a slap on the wrist, they didn't use all 4 fingers. They just hit her with.
They went like,
yeah,
they said no. Don't.
There was
do that.
nothing done. I get here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look real quick while we're on the topic. I think she's
got
on YouTube,
34.5
right?
million followers.
And she's still doing cosplays
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing else happening. Now,
like
not to mention the fact that she's such a garbage video game player that she has to cheat.
Yeah,
like,
yep, that's
legit
true. That is
proven
true.
cheater. You're a proven cheater. You're scummy.
Now I do think there's another topic here. Well, not topic, but you have to account for if technically Instagram doesn't acknowledge her, there's plausible deniability. So they could say like, well, we didn't know. And there's a whole legal part to that. But either way, I think this
she
whole
also doxed him on either Twitch or YouTube as well. She did it live.
I think she was live streaming on Instagram, and then the story broke out on YouTube and all the other stuff.
Well, here, I'm gonna give my take on it. I think that, despite if she did it on one platform, sure she should be banned on that one platform.
But I was saying bare minimum.
But no, the fact that she did it on that one platform, it spread like wildfire to everything else. So even if she got banned off that one site, millions of people have seen what this dude's house like and where he lives now. Somebody else could come there based off this information. Like she shouldn't be allowed her big platforms, no matter how minor the offense was, because she could be a repeat offender. This may not be the only time she's done this.
Well, she has. She was involved in armed robbery before.
Yeah,
of course she would be.
So you have a convicted felon like showing your house,
committing another felony.
Ratchet people do ratchet things. What do you expect?
But to go kind of back to the topic at hand, the overall topic, I think this all started out with you remember back when people were doing body painting?
Not just that. Y'all remember Zoe Berger? Yeah. Anybody know Zoe Berger?
I don't.
She was she got covered a lot at the time, but she was like a streamer playing Call of Duty. And every time that she won a match, she would shake her butt.
There's a lot that do that.
I know.
Yeah.
But like at this time, this is at a time where YouTube was still very like, hey, this isn't okay.
Oh,
but she kept making. I think she made a new account. She started doing it on Twitch, then did it on YouTube. Then she eventually made an OnlyFans, and she didn't like the criticism that she got from it. Like, why is this okay? Why are we allowing this on these supposed to be get away from society platforms? Why are we? This is supposed to be purely gaming or purely, just chatting or like cooking streams, all that kind of stuff. Why are we allowing people to show skin? But if I were to go do the same thing, dress up the same as these people do the same thing, even if it was as a joke, I'd be banned within 24 hours and having my, my partnership taken away.
I believe Boogie actually did kind of a hot take on this, but he did like you remember the censor bar thing that people were doing?
Isn't that like where they're wouldn't
naked,
wear anything at all, and
then they have a
censor
censor bar
over them? That's just as bad, if not worse. Like,
well, Boogie got banned within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, let me guess. There's a streamer right now doing
because
that.
he did a censor bar. Yet
there were tons. Well, not tons, but there were females that were doing it that didn't ever get banned.
That never got banned.
Yeah. So there's definitely
Boogie 2988 got banned for censor bar for doing the exact same thing.
Well, don't get me wrong. I used to be a Boogie fan. I'm not too fond of Boogie now, but I'm gonna put all that aside for.
Well, just
it has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, the point of the
principle.
Is
I think YouTube is going in the same direction that Twitch, where the moderators and the staff know this. They're playing favorites. They're letting people get away with it because they like these female streamers and they know they bring in the dough. Like, as long as they bring in the dough, as long as they're bringing in money, they don't care.
Yeah.
But the minute somebody else goes and does it, that isn't the same following,
It's
Get
really
them on out of here, man.
it's really funny when Twitch has to revise their nudity policy like almost 5 times in the week. Like,
Yep.
there's a
Yeah.
problem. There's a problem. And I think it started out with the body painting thing, and they kept trying to push the envelope. And recently it was the censor bars where they're literally naked and they just have a censor bar.
The girls are pushing, the guidelines, and then they start changing the guidelines. It's bad. Like they're letting you guys are letting them change your rules just because they bring in an extra $1,000. Like it's the same thing with game companies. When is it enough? When is it not? Like you're letting it destroy your platform. This isn't okay. I'm sorry, but when I'm sitting here getting hot tub streams, or because I looked at like one video on drama,
Mm-hmm.
where I've gotten actual like bad videos like in
Oh,
my
wow.
recommended and stuff like that before because of this kind of stuff.
Oh,
Like
wow. Well, that's how close it is to the,
that's
to
how
the
close it's
stuff.
getting. Is like it's
Well, they're
making
gonna
it into
keep
the
pushing.
algorithm.
They're gonna keep pushing the envelope and wind up having to do what Omegle done and shut down.
I
Omegle
think
got
we're
that
getting
bad.
extremely close, if not softcore porn, pretty much. That's what it is.
Right.
It's exactly what's being. It's like if you're gonna do this, guys, anybody wants to do this, it's one thing if it's like for education, which none of this is that they're doing is it. You have to show this stuff for education.
No, it's not for education. At the end of the day,
Stay on the hub.
Promote yourself where you should promote yourself, and that's on your Twitter, your Instagram, stuff like that.
Twitter, Instagram, Discord.
If you need to sell your body
On
to make your
Twitch.
money on Twitch and pretend like you were playing a video game while someone else is off camera playing it for you, then
That's a bit much. Yeah.
you know you're wrong. You know who you are, and you're just not that great of a person. Don't get me wrong.
You're selling a lie, as we were saying earlier.
You're selling a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what all these people do.
As
is they're
opposed to
selling lies.
you being on the hub or OnlyFans and you're not selling a lie. You're selling exactly what you say you're selling. So why not be on the up and up instead of trying to lie to people? And I get you got a bunch of horny little gamers that are going to come to your stream and watch this.
Or horny old men. One of the two.
Or horny old men.
Or both.
Or both,
And
actually, yeah.
It is what it is. You'll have that.
You'll have that.
Yeah, you'll have
but
that.
Just don't
That's for sure.
Just don't bring it here. Like that's the whole argument. It's just like why
Don't
they gotta
get lost
pick
in the sauce.
Exactly. Don't get lost in the sauce. And YouTube, if you're listening, just have some fair representation for both sides.
Treat people equally. Treat
Exactly. This
both
shouldn't be a
parties.
picking favorites party.
Exactly.
That's why everybody started moving to YouTube for streaming. Because Twitch did this.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to make your competitors, especially that one that's been blowing up.
Kick.
It's not Kick. Yeah, you want Kick to blow up with how barren their rules are and how bad it is. I don't think so. You want to keep your advertisers. You want to keep people happy.
Well, TikTok's blowing up too with live streaming and video gaming,
Exactly.
game live streaming.
There's competition coming, and if you don't stick to what makes YouTube the enjoyable platform and what people want to keep coming back to, you're not going to have your advertisers and what you're looking for.
Side note from last week, you're already starting to mess up with the ad blocker thing.
Right.
Which,
just saying.
I'm just saying, YouTube, as the name of our podcast says, you'll have that.
You'll have that. Well, alrighty, guys. That was wonderful. That was a great episode.
See you next week.
Thank you all.
Yes,
A little
next week,
aside, I forgot one more note to begin with. We're going to do the format in seasons. So currently we're on season 1. And this is episode 2. I don't know how many episodes we'll have per season, but we will have a short break between seasons before we continue back up. But yeah, just so you guys know, that's the S1.E, whatever it is. So thank you all for listening. I'm Wassup. I'll see you guys.
I'm Jaboon. Before we end the episode, I want to thank today's sponsor, ourselves.
Oh, of course.
We almost forgot about the sponsor. Can't believe that. We host a Discord server / little community called Team Twisted, or just Twisted. I call it Team. I'm a little bit of a nerd like that for my.
Well, it's discord.gg/Team Twisted.
And We host a little community there. We've been trying to get more people in. We play games pretty much every night. We always talk about things after episodes or just things that may come up in the episode. So if you guys ever have any suggestions or just want to come hang out, give us feedback, or be a part of a community, we're always looking for more people. Glad to have you. But podcast aside, thank you guys for coming by. We've been the Three Musketeers, like always. If you'll have that. Looking forward to next week's episode. We're gonna have some pretty spicy topics to talk about. If not spicy, at least it'll be entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
To keep it. We try to keep it pretty good. I think we've done pretty good with our first 2 episodes. All the way from talking about the Ayla Mouse, the mall last week, all the way to good old Jack's films, the Sniper Wolf drama. Again, if you guys like what you see, reply to us on Spotify. Give us suggestions. Either come to the Discord too, or leave a comment on YouTube. We always look at comments. We always want to hear what you guys have to say.
And again, if you have any suggestions on topics, we do check YouTube a lot and Discord. So please, if you have any suggestions, by all means, go ahead, post them.
Exactly.
All right.
Twisted. Good night.
And I'm Jaboon. That's Twasep. He's already gone, but you know what?
Yeah.
You'll have that.
You'll have that.